Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/Libsyn today. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I heartily endorse this event or product.
Ahoy, hoy, everybody, and welcome to Talk to the Audience, where this is always death. I am one of your hosts, Bob Viva Quebec Mackey, and who is here with me today, as always?
Ready to follow the Indianapolis Colts through the whole season, Henry Gilbert.
And yes, welcome once again to Talk to the Audience. This is our community podcast, and on this podcast, we cover what's happening in the Simpsons world, what's happening in our world, and then we respond to your questions and comments from the last round of episodes posted on the Patreon. And our motto this month, I guess, is no news is basically all the news that we have, because they're working on the movie. There are no new episodes until probably late September, mid-October, and we're in a real drought. But we've dug up a few things, and also, I guess, news about a lack of things as well.
Yeah, it's short of any July surprise or something that they could maybe do around either San Diego Comic-Con or, man, I should have looked up. Now I'm wondering if there is a D23 this year and if they announce something as part of that to release of, like, Disney always has exclusive stuff come out on Disney Plus during the D23 Expo, whenever that is. But yes, we are still in like the no zone of Simpsons, even as, you know, it's been over a month since we thought, oh yeah, for Simpsons Day, there'll be a new Disney Plus episode.
Yeah, we reported last month on World Simpsons Day and the idea that there will be a exclusive episode coming to Disney Plus. And we know which episode that is, by the way. It is called Extreme Makeover Homer Edition. It's one of 3 800th episodes. This one is the 800th produced. And based on what we know, is a 2-part anthology with a framing device. Unfortunately, it has not gone live yet. And like Henry said, it could be a Comic-Con announcement. It could be a D23 announcement. All we know is that either Disney or the Simpsons team are sitting on this for some reason. They're waiting to launch it at an opportune time, and we don't know what that will be.
Yeah, yes. I mean, Disney, they're working so hard on trying to make Grogu happen and be a thing. They can't think about anything that isn't Grogu related.
Well, let's see how long that little scam gets to stick around in theaters.
Yeah, it's a real test for old Grogu this weekend. We'll see. I'm watching the box office very closely.
And yes, another news item here, a real news item, by the way, not like the fake news we talked about earlier, but the Simpsons helped the Indianapolis Colts release their schedule for the 2026 season via a viral video. And the process took nearly a year of planning with the show's producers. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this over the weekend or over the past couple of weeks, but check it out. There is an entire video online that is essentially the Simpsons' very modular opening filled with Indianapolis Colts references, and then their schedule is expressed via different clips from the series.
Yeah, which, you know, I've got it open here on my screen. I'm just going back through it again. It's like, oh yeah, when they faced the, you know, the Texans, it's something must have spooked them good with the cows, because the Texans are, you know, cows and they're spooking the cows. Or, yeah, for the Kansas City Chiefs, it's Homer from the Leftorium episode going, barbecue, because Kansas City barbecue. It's apparently people did not, I read this from an Indianapolis Star write-up of like, how did it happen? And apparently people last year didn't like the Colts' schedule announcement video as much that time. And so this time they decided to work with the Simpsons, and like Matt Selman and other producers like helped out and picked out things.
Yeah, apparently they went with a Minecraft theme video last year, and that didn't go over very well. I don't know why, but maybe too nerdy, too kiddie for the football fans. I'm not sure. There was no explanation there.
It's like how they played NFL games on Nickelodeon as well. The NFL is worried that they are not going to get the younger kids to watch football, let alone play it. So they have to work with bigger things. But this Simpsons one is more in the zone of the 40 and up demographic that they
Yes.
normally hope to reach.
With all the classic clips. Now, I will say this. This is cute. I'm glad people enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of cute. Here's the thing. When I read this article about the making of this video and the schedule, it sounded like someone was hiring the Simpsons for their birthday party and like negotiating different things they could do. It does feel like Disney is increasingly turning the Simpsons into a cameo account in a way I don't like. Of course, the Simpsons have always shilled for things like Butterfinger and video games, but I feel like they mostly stuck to other countries when it came to promoting things like fast food or fried chicken or things like that. So I feel like we're crossing a Rubicon of sorts here, and I feel like we're going to start seeing more Simpsons promotions via these kind of videos, or the Simpsons attached to very inexplicable things. I don't know. It sets a weird precedent for me that I don't like, and I feel like this is partially why Disney bought the Simpsons as marketing characters that can be loaned out for these purposes. And I'm sure the Colts paid a lot of money. The Simpsons didn't just do this because they were fans of the Colts. There was like a check exchanged.
I mean, what does Indianapolis have to do with the Simpsons any more than any other city? It's so the Colts are like, I wish it was, the Denver Broncos or Atlanta Falcons. Like, I wish it was something like that. Apparently, I read this in a Reddit post about it, that the Colts aren't playing the Atlanta Falcons or the Denver Broncos this year, so they couldn't play that great clip of Mo saying those team names. I think it feels a lot like the Krusty the Clown has his own, marketing materials that sell him as a marketing material endorser of things. Like, it's getting that extreme. I mean, under Fox, they certainly advertise stuff, and they even did, the See the Fox on NFL show with the Simpsons guys. Like, they did it, but this does feel like another step up from it. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's being used to promote things like Star Wars and singers who can't see and Billie Eilish. So I feel like, I don't know, something feels a lot different to me than when they were promoting KFC or Burger King or Butterfinger in the past. It could just be me. I don't want to ruin anyone's football fun, but it seems like we're going to see more stuff like this in the future. I guess they had to negotiate with voice actors too to use these clips, and it sounds like maybe Dan Castellaneta was one of the ones who wanted to play ball with this.
That's true. Yeah, it sounded like he was more up for it than some others on it, I think. Or maybe they just saw, money-wise, Homer covers, or Dan's characters cover the most clips we would use, so if we're just going to pick one guy, then it would be Dan. But obviously, Shearer isn't doing any of this.
No.
No.
Not surprised by that at all. So yeah, check out that video online. Very easy to find. And more Simpsons news. The current horror hit Obsession is actually inspired by the Monkey Paw segment of Treehouse of Horror 2. The director Curry Barker told this to Variety during an interview. And the context of this is very strange because apparently Curry Barker was on an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in a bit part. He invited some friends over to watch it with him, and what aired before that episode was a re-airing of Treehouse of Horror 2. And it sounds like that's the first time he's seen that segment, maybe 25 years after it originally aired, and that's what inspired him to make Obsession. But of course, we know this. The article reports on this. It's based on a 1902 short story.
Yeah, the film Obsession, which I haven't seen yet, it's doing good as a horror film in theaters. And I've seen it also. I think the filmmaker, he had a popular short film that was on YouTube, but I've seen it lumped in with YouTubers making films successful lists. I don't know if that really covers what Curry Barker's career was, but yes, seemingly he had never heard of the concept of the monkey paw story of a twisted wish going wrong until he watched probably then 15 or 20-year-old Simpsons episode about the monkey's paw.
Yeah, very strange. I hope this movie's good. I'm interested in this, and Hokum also seems pretty cool.
Cinemark has been advertising me Hokum a lot in emails. I've been getting a lot of Hokum emails from Cinemark. They must have some branding deal with them.
Also, Cracked had an interview with Al Jean, or they got a statement from Al Jean, rather, because as we all know, we're really easing up on pedophilia in the last 10 years. We're all saying, let's take it easier on these guys. And that's why the Michael documentary is a huge hit, which conveniently cuts off at 1988. I don't know why. There's lots of things happen. Let's look at 1993. Oh, wait. Let's not look at 1993.
It's insane. The Michael movie's success, I guess I should have realized, there are, I guess, billions of people, at least hundreds of millions of people on Earth who just want to enjoy Michael Jackson music and not think about the obvious things that are in his past and that we talked about quite a lot when we covered Stark Raving Dad, but like that, I mean, there's also like a big business machine behind filling the flooding the zone with misinformation, or like, well, what really was caught, and he was tried 2 times and the police couldn't get him, and maybe they were just out to get to take down a successful black man, and all these things. It's just so depressing to see about Michael Jackson when there are a million smoking guns from him. There's too much fire to even call it smoke in his case.
And in this case, Al Jean remains committed to this episode not being available. Quote, I hope it remains banned, unquote. Weirdly enough, though, I saw Mike Reese have the different opinion about this because someone posted the episode in full on Twitter and he responded, wow, I haven't seen this in years and I wrote it. Thanks for posting. So I guess Mike Reese is still happy it's out there in some form. But you know what? If you want to watch Stark Raving Dad, you can find a place to watch it from now until the sun burns out. It's going to be okay. This episode will always be available somewhere, no matter what, even if Disney Plus or new printings of DVDs don't have it. And we went over that 7 years ago.
Yeah, it is interesting that Mike Reese feels differently about it, that he shared the full episode and that it had, I think I saw he shared too, it's his secret DVD commentary that's on the DVD that you have to go to audio channel 5 on, that's not listed in the extras too. I think I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's pro Michael Jackson. I'm glad that there are ways to see it because outside of the Michael Jackson connection, it does really show you how big The Simpsons was at the beginning of its 3rd season. It's we have arguably the biggest celebrity on Earth right now on our show, period. That was a big moment for The Simpsons, but I understand you don't want Disney or anyone to profit from airings or any other way to make this episode available, so I get that. But it does really show you just where The Simpsons was in 1991, and you can check out our reevaluation of that we did a few years ago with Nathan Rabin, I believe, was our guest.
Yeah, we worked real hard on that one. I watched the Leaving Neverland doc, which I would suggest people do, and you have to seek it out now, thanks to the Michael Jackson estate lawyers. Specifically, I was glad to see Al Jean address this, because I had seen this pop up a bit again. Yeah, I mean, it never goes away in Simpsons fandom. People keep bringing up that oh, they banned this episode, they shouldn't or should, or that argument never goes away. But because this is a huge hit film, people are saying, now can we get back the Simpsons episode? And Al Jean was quoting somebody who was sharing an article about it, saying that and when Stark Raving Dad going to come back? And he said, I hope it remains banned. And it's worth, the Cracked article brings it up, but Al Jean's reasoning that he said in 2019, I think still stands, is that it's not that just that it's a canceled man who's in an episode and they're ashamed of it. It is, in Al Jean's opinion, that the episode seems like it mirrors too intentionally, via Michael Jackson's requests, things that look like the grooming allegations that are in the Leaving Neverland doc. The spending the night with Bart thing, moving into the family's house. He's doing that on the Simpsons episode. At the same time, he is alleged to have been doing that in real life as part of his grooming. And so I think Al Jean does feel a level of guilt of unintentionally being part of his grooming. And so I totally see it from Al Jean's point of view too.
Yeah, they unwittingly helped him with his grooming machine that he was building at that point in his career. So I understand oh, we didn't know we were doing this. Only in retrospect do we realize what this was serving, what purpose this served for him. And we don't want this publicly available. But again, there are tens of millions of DVDs with this on it. You just type it into Google, you'll find 9 million streams and other places to find it. So it will never go away. And it aired on TV 300 million times. So there will always be a place to find this episode, just not through the official means.
It is extremely available, probably has been watched more by people in the last 7 years than had it not been taken off of Disney Plus, because people just were brought attention to it because of this, arguably.
And for our final news item, I have one thing to say. Quebecers rejoice, because the Quebecois dub of The Simpsons will continue, and the show released a nearly minute-long clip of original animation to spread the word. Very surprised by this. This was not just a news story. This is not just a headline. This is Bart and Lisa in front of the couch having a conversation about how the Quebecois dub of The Simpsons will continue with season 36 starting this fall in, I assume, Montreal.
Yes.
Or Quebec as a whole, let's say.
And it's their Quebec voice actors, right? They're Quebecois voice
Yes.
actors doing it.
Yes.
Like,
They're letting you know you won't have to suffer through Parisian French. Disgusting.
maybe it's the first time for those voice actors who have no doubt been playing Bart and Lisa for many years that the lip sync on Bart and Lisa matches their words instead of it being dubbed over the English lip sync.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I mean, it's 48 seconds long, but still it's original animation. The characters aren't doing anything crazy, but someone had to storyboard this, work on the lip sync, animate it, etc. So they spent time doing this because I guess there was a great fan demand for this Quebecois dub, which seemed like it was going to end with season 35, but no, it will continue. And I went to Montreal last year, and I did learn a lot about how seriously they take their language. It's not just some fun thing that they do. A lot of places are like, no, this is the language we speak, and if you don't speak, we can't help you.
Dang. And they don't want to hear Parisian French either, I would guess. It sounds
No,
like.
no, that's all I can tell them. That's all I learned in college and high school, so I'm shit out of luck.
I wonder if Al Jean, his pride for the Quebec people who want independence, if that continued into this reasoning. Probably not, but it's fun.
But I did learn a unique Quebecois swear when I was in Montreal, and that swear is tabarnak, which is their version of oh fuck, oh shit, whatever, however you want to define
Wow.
it. So there you have it.
Man, tabernacle. I see. Hey, that's a fun swear.
It's also very blasphemous too, so you cover all the bases there with tabernacle.
Interesting. Okay.
Some Quebecois person, please let us know more about this word. We'd love to know.
And I hope we didn't offend you too much if you're listening to this in Montreal with your children by saying
In church.
in church.
First, put your phone away and listen to Christ. We've got the Simpsons news. He's got the good news. So we're going to move on to Talking Simpsons news, our schedule for the month of June. And we're kicking off the month of June with a special presentation of Blabbin' 'Bout Batman, the animated series. Yes, we're removing What a Cartoon from the schedule because we recorded a 2-hour episode of our Batman podcast all about the episode Bane. And we have a very special guest. That guest is Daniel Dockery, who wrote the upcoming Batman history, Batman the Animated Series history, I Am the Knight. He's joining us for that episode to talk about Bane, to talk about his research on the series. And I believe we both read his book. Very comprehensive, very in-depth. It's definitely for fans of animation podcasts, first and foremost. So really looking forward to everybody hearing that episode of Blabbin' 'Bout Batman.
And thanks to his book, we learned a whole lot about that Bane episode that we covered. And it was Daniel's pick, and I think it gave us a good insight to also how it reflected the popular 90s comics at the time and what Bruce Timm and friends thought about 90s comics. And yes, I really enjoyed his book too from reading it, and not just the new stories and from interviews and that he had done, but also he sets the table great of just how Batman for the first half of the 90s reflected an entire change in American animation that was going on, and that it argues that Batman is kind of like the high watermark of TV animation that was inspiring so many other great shows too.
Yeah, the book is full of delicious context, and we talk to Daniel about it in the episode. So look forward to that. Some Batman this summer. He's so absent from our cinemas and our TV screens. Where are you, Batman? Get off your ass, Matt Reeves. I'm sick of waiting.
Maybe next year. Yeah, instead,
Yes.
you'll have to settle for Supergirl this year instead, unfortunately.
I'm waiting on X-Men 97. I'm waiting on Cape Crusader. Where are these shows?
I think X-Men 97 is coming soon. I think it'll be in the next few months. I think so.
I feel like we're going to hear a Comic-Con announcement about both shows. It's like, you're getting 10 more and canceled.
Yes. I would bet the one for the Batman series the Cape Crusader will just be like, it's our final season and we're going to have a great time with it, guys. Trying to put the bravest face on being canceled and not being renewed for another 10.
We'll see. I'm hoping for the best here. So that's what's going on in What a Cartoon. For Talking Futurama, it is the kind of season finale overclockwise. I believe either the third or fourth potential Futurama series finale. Each one is less effective than the last, but this has a lot of fun with Bender basically becoming cyber god, and we had fun talking about it.
Yeah, it was the forgotten finale I had not seen before. We had covered this one, and there's lots of interesting behind-the-scenes stuff on it, especially of Ken Keeler himself complaining about stuff in his own episode, taking himself to task pedantically.
Stuff that he wrote, so look forward to that. And also, Talking of the Hill, we're covering the episode Won't You Pee My Neighbor, which is all about Bobby potentially becoming the next Dalai Lama. It's a fun episode that explores Buddhism and Bobby's relationship with Connie. I do love this one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one since, well, for definitely a long time. And I'm looking forward to my favorite joke from it that I remember is Bill reflecting on the troubles with celibacy vows and how many years it takes when speaking to another celibate man.
So yes, those are available if you're a patron at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons, those 2 miniseries episodes. And we also have our What a Cartoon Movie in June. We're covering Wreck-It Ralph because, of course, we're doing the 2010s Disney summer. Wreck-It Ralph is next on the agenda, and I'm looking forward to digging into it because I'm about to complete 15 years on the podcast Retronauts. So it's the part I was born to play, baby.
It's the Roger Rabbit for video games for about 20 minutes. And then it's the Roger Rabbit of candy.
Yeah, then it's like a
movie.
Candy and Subway. By that I mean the fast food chain movie. But hey, I like the video game part.
It's an interesting history of like arcade games and the dying arcades, and it's a sort of a Donkey Kong movie years before we would actually get a Donkey Kong movie.
And actually, we're on a lot of podcasts this month and next month, I guess, because we were on Michael and Us. We were talking about Perfect Blue. It's not quite a What a Cartoon Movie. We have an in-depth discussion about that with Luke Savage and Wilson, so check out the Michael and Us podcast. We also have Henry on some shows just by himself. I'm not there. I sat these out. So, Henry, this just launched today as of this recording. You were on Podcast The Ride talking about, what is this, a Jimmy Neutron, is it a roller coaster?
It's Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoon Blast. And it was the Nicktoons crossover ride from 2003 to 2011 in Universal Studios. And I went to Los Angeles for a little vacation, but of course I could not resist. Well, it's like I could grab lunch with friends or I could record a podcast. Why not a podcast? So I did an in-person podcast with Podcast The Ride. It came together a little late, but it came together well. And I got to talk about the Nicktoons ride that is sadly hosted by Jimmy Neutron. So basically all the cool Nicktoons get like shoved to the side for Jimmy Neutron.
I guess we'll cover Jimmy Neutron today. I never got Jimmy Neutron. I never understood it. It's a hideous cartoon. It's not that funny. I guess it was CGI when that was appealing and novelty. I don't get it, folks.
It was pushed very hard by Nickelodeon, including making him the host of the Nicktoon ride. The best part of the ride, as I saw it, was the very beginning where you're flying through the Nicktoons backlot, and it's a ton of cameos. You can even spot Ren and Stimpy very briefly, which in 2003 was pretty rare to do in Nicktoons.
Yeah, a rare post 9/11 Ren and Stimpy. You don't see that very often, folks. So yes, and also, what are you talking about on Doughboys? That is yet to go live. It might be live by the time this goes live. I'm not sure.
I think it's out in the second week of June, but I'm on their Patreon, Doughboys Doubles, talking about the Muppets. They're doing a whole Muppet month, and it's actually a month and a half. And they needed another man in his 40s to talk about the Muppets. We talked about Muppets 2011. That's what I drew on the list. It was, do we hate Walter or do we forgive Walter? Like, it was really the trial of Walter when we did the podcast.
I see. Well, yes, listeners, Henry's been stepping out on this podcast, but don't worry, he still loves you very much, and this is not your fault.
I just want to spread the new word about Talking Simpsons to all these other great podcasts. And and I mean, with Michael and Us, I'm curious how many of you listeners noticed it in our Patreon feed. We tried a cross-post thing that Patreon is allowing now. Our Michael and Us pals, Luke and Will, suggested, which was you can cross-post, but it didn't appear in your RSS, but it did appear in your Patreon app, or if you went to the web version of Patreon. So how did you guys see? Did you guys see us talking about Perfect Blue in your feeds?
Some were pleasantly surprised. Others were like, did they get hacked? What's happening?
It was nice to talk about Perfect Blue in some way, even though I still don't know if it's one I'd want to talk about every single scene of and super in-depth. It was more fun for an overall conversation.
Oh, it's fine. You know what? I think it's for babies now. I'd show it to a child. Look for Henry and myself on different podcasts in the past and in the future, and not just ours. So now it's time to talk about what we've been playing and watching that's not necessarily part of our podcast thing we have going on here. As for me, not a lot to mention. I finished Pragmata. Actually, I started it weeks before Henry and then ended it weeks after Henry because I love the game so much. By the time I got to the last area, I was playing like 20 minutes at a time and then putting it away for the day because I thought, like, God, this is so good. I can't finish it this quickly. And I eventually finished it. I have to do a bit of the post-game stuff, which seems interesting, but I gave this game a 5 out of 5 on Backlog. It is great, and it's one of my favorite games of this year. Looking for things to play next, I have my eyes on 007 First Light. I don't care that much about James Bond. I've only seen 2 James Bond movies, but this is essentially a new Hitman game, and I love the past 3. They are such like huge, dense, amazing games that are like intimidating because you could just do anything and just become anyone in this little scenario. So yes, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also hearing that the new Lego Batman is essentially a new Arkham game. Unfortunately, I have too much I want to play, and I don't want to pay $70 for a Lego Batman game. But I feel like this will be, when it drops to like 50 or 40 in the fall, I'll play it because I haven't played Arkham Knight yet. And I bought that for $5 a million years ago, and I want to play that next.
Yeah, I never beat Arkham Knight either. It didn't hold my attention like other Arkham games, but seeing that Rocksteady was actually like involved in the new Lego Batman game, it also is pulling me to play it, but those Lego games get marked down real fast too. It's like same with a Ubisoft game. It's like don't pay full price for a Ubisoft game. They knock $20 off it within a month.
Is Rocksteady involved in this game?
I read that the credits are out there for it now, and that Rocksteady had some level of involvement in it.
Yeah, sorry, Henry. This is news to me. I'm seeing this now. That gives me a lot more confidence. I'm very sad for that studio because they built so many great games and they just fell on their face with that. What was that, the Suicide Squad game?
Oh, God, yeah. That was so unfortunate. Matt McMuscles, multi-time Talking Simpsons guest, he did a great what happened on it of like he did a bunch of research trying to explain what happened, and it just sounded like it was they were told you have to make a Destiny style game that has to be a live service game with, purple weapons and all that. Like you got to get epic weapons and prestige. They spent years making it their first multiplayer game. Too much money, probably what it cost to make like 3 single player games. And then when it comes out, it's dead in a month. And then it's just killed. Like I am shocked happily shocked, Rocksteady still exists after Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I'm happy they're still around. Hopefully, they'll do something else. But yes, Arkham Knight, I've never touched it, and it's nice to know that there's an entire Arkham game out there with Kevin Conroy voice acting I've never played. So maybe this summer I'll take it on. And I guess one update, I've picked up The 100-Line Last Defense Academy again. By the way, that is the visual novel adventure game strategy RPG with 100 endings. And so far, I'm 90 hours in, and I have 40 endings. So will I get the remaining 60? I'll keep checking back in. But I've been playing it in my downtime because after finishing Pragmata, I've honestly been very busy with like podcasts and other things. And I just needed like a simple game to play in my downtime that I already started, and that was it. But yeah, next week, definitely we'll be picking up the new Bond game. So not a lot of gaming this month. In terms of watching, well, this month I'm on cruise control because I'm re-experiencing my love for Tom Cruise and his wonderful religion. So, and my wife, by the way, but we're both big fans in this now. We watched Legend for the first time. I just threw it on as a whim. We've both never seen it, and I thought this will be crappy, but it will look good. We were blown away. We love Legend so much. We immediately bought the Kino Lorber or whatever, the super high quality edition to watch in the privacy of our own homes whenever we want to. Legend rocks. And I'm sad it's gotten such a bad reputation because my own take on it is the Mad Max Fury Road of fantasy movies. It keeps moving. Everything is like practical. You're seeing something new and amazing every 3 seconds, and it's just a sight to behold. And unlike Fury Road, it's only 80 minutes long. So you're in, you're out. It's a great ride. And I recommend Legend. I feel like it gets discounted a lot.
Well, that's a Ridley Scott film. Is that right?
Yes.
Or,
yeah.
I feel like it's a watched at a friend's house on VHS as a kid movie, but otherwise I also remember just friends saying it had a mid reputation of like, oh yeah, it looks kind of cool, but it's not that good. So I never investigated it either.
Yeah, the makeup is incredible. The sets are incredible. The story is just like basically rescue the princess, but it all works for me. And I want a Legend reevaluation in my lifetime because I feel like I think it is my favorite 80s fantasy movie. I watched Willow again recently. I podcasted about it. Don't really care for that very much. Other ones, I feel like they don't hold a candle to Legend. So I'm telling everybody out there, I am not crazy, at least in this sense. Please go out and check out Legend. So another Tom Cruise movie I watched, I saw Top Gun Maverick for the second time. I don't love Top Gun Maverick. I think it's just a fine movie, enjoyable enough, but this time they were screening it in 4DX. Henry, have you seen a 4DX movie before?
No, I've never seen a 4DX movie. I have heard like Twisters, the sequel, was another great one to see with it, but I have heard that Maverick is one of the best, apparently.
I was surprised by 4DX. We're doing it as a goof, my wife and I, thinking like, this will be fun. We've only done D-Box. Have you ever even done D-Box, Henry?
I don't think I have. No. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't even know where the nearest D-Box is in my area. There must be some in a major city like Seattle. There must
If you've got
be
a big
some.
theater, they probably reserve one or two of the spaces for D-Box or for 40X. But I will tell you, Henry, you're a guy, and I say this in kindness, who can't stop going to Universal Studios.
Yes.
This essentially turns your movie theater into Universal Studios. You don't have to get on a plane. You just sit down in the movie chair, and it's moving you around, and it's spraying water on you, and fog is erupting from the ground, and lights are flashing, and you're watching a movie. But the thing is, you're not throwing up because you don't have glasses on at the same time.
And I don't have to fly to Los Angeles to do this and get a hotel.
You do not. You don't need to get an Uber or a hotel or anything like that. So I'm telling all of you out there, if you have not done 40X, it's a little more expensive. You really want to save it for a movie that takes full advantage of it. This one did. And I was very impressed. So I think like once a year, maybe I will do the 40X experience for a movie I really like or one that feels like it'll take advantage of the technology because it really works. I was skeptical. I was prepared to not like it, but I was shocked by how well it worked.
I remember in Maverick, I saw on your letterbox you had a great, you used the character poster for the character that shares your name, who's like another Hollywood hunk who they put glasses on to be the nerd in the movie.
Yeah, honestly, there are no characters in that movie. I guess there's there's Maverick and then the Goose Child.
Rooster, right?
Yeah, Rooster. There you go. And that's basically it.
What about Hangman? He always leaves you hanging.
Right. Well,
yeah.
he didn't make it as part of the mission. But yeah, if you can do 40X, I encourage you, Henry, when you're buying tickets, keep scrolling, see if there's a 40X screening or a D-Box screening of something you want to see and report back because Henry loves writing the movies. I've seen it.
I love writing the movie. Guys, don't you want to write Simpsons Ride again? Like, yeah, nobody else wanted to write it with me this recent time. Also, isn't obviously, Top Gun Maverick is like propaganda for the American, military. We all know this going in. I'm not canceling, but it had to be weird watching it. They basically do an invasion of Iran in the movie, right? They don't.
Well,
name
technically, it's the enemy, and we're left to imagine who that could be.
Yes, that's right. But they're they're enriching uranium that they're not supposed to. So we're of course crossing their borders and bombing them. Though another thing I remember loving in it as a funny American Empire thing was Ed Harris is trying to argue he is arguing that drones are better than risking a human pilot on these things. We should just be using drones. And I was I think he's right. I'm sorry, Maverick. I think he's right about this.
Yeah, we need tiny robots to fight our wars for us. Sorry. Yeah, Maverick, please retire. So my last movie I want to mention, and for legal reasons, this is not a threat, what I'm about to say, but if you don't see Sheep Detectives, I will find you. And what happens next? Well, that's up to me because this movie is my favorite movie of the year. 5 stars and a like on Letterboxd. If you want to see Babe Meets Knives Out, and I know you do, that will also make you cry multiple times. You got to get your ass to Sheep Detectives.
I have not seen Sheep Detectives yet. For the week it was out, I was on my vacation, so I didn't make time for it then. And then when I got back, I had to pick between it and a different movie I watched that I'll mention. But yes, when I saw a trailer for Sheep Detectives, I thought it looked cute, but I wasn't sure how good it would be. And then not just you and Nina, but many people I respect, on social media or Letterboxd are saying, seriously, it's great. And I'm crying at the movie within the first 30 minutes kind of stuff.
It's incredible. I only saw it because I wondered, this idea seems crazy. How does it work? And it remains completely dignified and satisfying and funny and heart-wrenching. It's amazing. It completely defied my expectations. You must see Sheep Detectives. Also, Legend, then Sheep Detectives, and then you're safe. I will not bother you after that. Everything's fine. Other things, I didn't do anything except for get older because now I'm 44 years old. So, folks, soon you'll be listening to 250-year-old podcasters, and isn't that scary?
We got till the 2030s till we're in our 50s. It's all right. And hey, you'll be 50 with us too, listeners. Some of you. Maybe
Who's ready for the 4th version of Homer Badman? I know I am.
Oh, yes. We'll get it right. No, I liked our Homer Badman this time.
I know. But yeah, that's it. I had a fun May. It's been very busy, but just having a good time.
No, yeah, your picks from your birthday looked really fun. The cake looked. Wish I was there to share that cake with you after blowing out the candles and not singing the birthday song. Not doing that.
No songs were sung. My wife and I have an understanding.
Yes, yeah, but it looked delicious. The cake and all the cool stuff you went to. You have very cool things just in your always exploring interesting stuff around Vancouver. It looks like from all your posts. So that was so my month. Yes, gaming wise, the only real one was Pragmata, because after Bob talked it up so much on the last podcast, if you guys remember previously on Talk to the Audience, I said I had played the demo and I was like, you know what, I'm playing it. I picked it up and started it, and yes, I pretty much like did it in 2 weeks or under 2 weeks because I just could not stop it. It was so good. It is so good.
Yeah, I described the game as a hold my beer moment because Capcom's like, oh, you know, that game type that kind of peaked in like 2009, let's us do it. And then they do it, and then it's one of the best games you've ever played. So there you have it.
I've seen it called, a dad game. I've seen it called a friendly uncle game, or just like, but the hanging out with the little girl, like it is more of like an orphan game too, a pro orphan game. But the gameplay of shooting and then slowing it down ever so slightly to do a minor puzzle game while you're doing it at the same time like that, it does just feel like the 30-second game cycle. It's just like click, 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 click. It worked for me every time. It deepened so well. All the bosses were so clever, and the setting worked so good as like an anti-AI kind of story, or also like 3D printing. It felt modern without being like, I don't know, it lacked a lot of the trappings of some other games of its style that were more about depression, I think.
And despite it taking place in a space station, every level is very different. And one thing I noticed, well, up front I noticed how confident the game is, but the game is so confident that there is no in-game map. I don't know if you noticed this, Henry.
Yeah.
They trust you. Like, we have built these levels. They're not like very simple levels, but they're designed in a way that you can figure them out on your own. You can't like pull up a 3D map and like rotate it and things like you're used to doing. I feel like that really says something about how much they believed in the game. Like, you will be able to finish this game. It's not an easy game, but these levels are fun to explore and you will never get lost.
And the challenge rooms like really built well. And I hardly 100%ed it, but like I was challenging myself to use the red pass key on most of the doors to try to do the extra stuff and collect. And also the way you level up in it, the leveling system, I think, is balanced really well. And yeah, the writing for the Diana characters, like, it's a cute kid who you do fun things with. And she's like, when she shows you the picture, you're like, oh, that's nice. Isn't that nice?
We're going to put it on the fridge.
Though, really, the dude I want a toy of is Cabin. I love that guy.
Your little robot base helper who unlocks things for you.
Yes, yeah, he's great. And I hope that they had been working on the game for so long. I think it got announced like before lockdown or something even. I think it was so, I had not really been paying attention to it, but now I am all in on Pragmata. I think I did even like it more than Resident Evil Requiem of the two Capcom games this year that also is a third-person-y shooter, or half of it is. I think I like Pragmata more. I think, yeah.
Yeah, Capcom is really kicking ass this year because I finished Monster Hunter Stories 3. Again, I'm a baby, so I didn't play RE9, and then I played the hell out of this. So, like, Capcom, I'm very happy with everything they've done so far this year.
With single-player games, by the way, too. Yeah.
No, I imagine if Pragmata was like a 2009 game, there would be some awful multiplayer component that no one would play, and it would get shut down within months.
Yeah, and then they, of course, lay off everybody as well. So that was the only real game I was playing this month. I'm not sure of upcoming games. Boy, I don't think I'll be touching that Yoshi game, but I played a teeny tiny bit of the Super Meat Boy 3D. It is good, but it's not catching me like original Super Meat Boy did.
Yeah, Yoshi games are not for anyone approaching an adult anymore, I've noticed.
Yeah.
They really are baby-fied in a way. Like, I play games for children, like the Mario games are for children, and same with like Donkey Kong Bonanza, whatever, but adults can play them. But the Yoshi games, they now feel designed for really young children.
Like, if you're not old enough for Kirby yet, play a Yoshi game. That feels where they put it.
Now, I have a question, Henry. In recent years, you've become the biggest Yoshi fan I know, and it kind of came out of nowhere. How did that emerge?
Well, it is a shared thing with my husband, I think, too. That it's like Yoshi gifts. Mario is still my number one, but yes, I took pictures with Yoshi at Universal just this trip, and we did get the Yoshi popcorn bucket. So yes, I am pretty guilty of it. Yoshi's Island is a top 5 like game for me. Like it's why I gave a chance to so many Yoshi games I shouldn't have given my time to afterwards, just trying to chase the same high that Yoshi's Island gave me.
But can you explain why it just suddenly happened, the Yoshi fandom?
he's just kind of everywhere, I guess. It's too, I do think it's the rainbow quality of him too. Maybe it also like comes into like the gayness of it. But I still haven't ridden the Yoshi ride yet. I didn't want to wait in the big line for it to ride the kids ride in Japan when I was in Osaka. But I can't really explain it because I haven't really played more Yoshi games than before or something. He's just been around more. I've gotten more into him lately, I suppose.
I think it's all stealth marketing for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. That's my opinion.
I am pretty susceptible to. I am Mr. Whatever you say, Mr. Billboard. So watching stuff in the streaming zone, I watched the whole final season of The Boys, which some fans were not at all into. I can see why good faith complaints about it were that it felt a little padded out, a little like it was trying to advertise the prequel series that's about to come out for this show, which and also it did feel like I expected a really big finale and it didn't, budget-wise, it did not seem to be where it should have been for the finale, I think. Yeah.
So this was the last season, right?
Yes, yeah. They are hardly done with the Vought cinematic universe, which they say half tongue-in-cheek, but yes, this is the end of the main story and the main cast. They're doing things in other parts of it and spin-off-wise, but this ended it, and if you read the comic, there's differences, there's similarities, and it was satisfying a certain way, but I said it before and I'll say it again. The worst thing to happen to The Boys is that Donald Trump got elected for a second term, because any satire that they do in it just makes me go like, well, this isn't as bad as reality, unfortunately, guys. Like, you can't your satire fails. It really sucks.
That's what I keep hearing about the series. Unfortunately, I haven't watched it yet. It might be hard to go to for the first time after 10 years of Trump.
It might be a little, yeah. It's maybe after, let's just imagine a time where Trump is 5 years in the past, then maybe it's worth seeing. Maybe. And it's, but I stuck with it to the end and I didn't hate it. Some people compared it to like the Game of Thrones finale as far as like disappointment. I wouldn't say that. Then I watched a one-off episode or special, The Punisher Won the Last Kill. Now, Bob, you're a new Punisher fan, but only for Dolph Lundgren's Punisher.
I think I only like the one movie, which again rules. I think I talked about that last month. Like Legend and The Punisher are my two greatest finds lately. Those two 80s movies.
So this new Punisher thing, it's actually like written by and co-produced by John Bernthal, the star playing the Punisher. So he's very invested in it. And his version of the Punisher is a very much haunted by PTSD, killer father type dude. It's like, what if a father, he so leans into the like vengeful father thing. And I think of the Punisher, Frank Castle, as a more calm and collected type guy. His version, John Bernthal, is a man screaming about his PTSD all the time while murdering people.
He's crying and wiping the tears with the gun barrel.
It is a real shoot and cry thing. But when the movie becomes pretty much a version of like The Raid or John Wick or Dredd, when he is just faced with like 40 guys trying to kill him in a row, the action is cool. It's good action. And really what it is a preview for if there was more of a Punisher series, here's what he would be doing. And it like even sets up like two villains who would be the villains for an entire TV show from the Punisher history.
What's with these Disney cheap teases? Like, here's one episode of The Muppet Show. Here's one episode of The Punisher. You're Disney. Just make a season of something, for Christ's sake.
I think, too, they want to, well, this is also in service of the new Spider-Man movie that Punisher is in, that they wanted to get Punisher into a happier place by the end of the special, so he's a better toy selling character in the Spider-Man movie that comes out in July. I think that's another reason for it. And then next year he'll be in a TV show probably, I would bet. Instead of the Sheep Detectives, I watched Gundam Hathaway, The Sorcery of the Nymph Circe.
So this is about the Beverly Hillbillies character, Miss Hathaway, correct?
Yes. She's finally fighting the entrenched Federation forces.
Oh, Mr. Drysdale.
This is the second film. It took 5 years for a second film. If you're a hardcore Universal Century fan of like the original run of Gundam, then you know that there was supposed to be a follow-up to Char's Counterattack about the character Hathaway Noah. And they wrote a book for it. The creator of Gundam wrote a book series of like, this is what I would have done as a series. And now, almost 30 years later, that book series is being made into this movie series.
It's part of a subgenre we call old manime.
It is old manime. It's full of the old manime, but it's gorgeous looking. It is full of the psychic teenagers or psychic young adults, but it does feel, again, I have to say that it was written, the base story as a book was written in the 90s, but it is about like the Federation forces are now being co-opted by capital that is doing like ethnic cleansing of illegals in different Federation cities on Earth, and that your main character Hathaway is technically like designated a terrorist fighting the Earth government in a Gundam. So
I'll say less genocide in the Sheep Detectives. Not none, but less.
Wow, cool robot indeed, I was saying watching the movie. But it was pretty interesting, and it also has a very unexpected music drop of Guns N' Roses in the film. I did not expect that.
More like Gundams and Roses. Come on, let's go.
If you listen to that Perfect Dark podcast, I was guilted into resuming my Ingmar Bergman watching because it's brought up that by the hosts of Michael and Us that, this Perfect Blue reminds us of Persona. And Henry, I see you have got the big box set that has a picture of the Persona film on it. And I had to admit I hadn't seen it. So I watched that, and then I enjoyed it so much. I was like, I'm going to watch a couple more big Bergman films. They're also like 90 minutes, so that's makes
nice.
them so easy. 90 minutes of you will be like emotionally destroyed by it by the end of it, which was what I felt at the end of Persona, The Virgin Spring, and Summer with Monica. They all like fucked me up.
On a related note, I might start Persona 5 this summer.
Oh, the Royal Edition?
Oh, yeah. Now that it's 10 years old, it's officially retro, so now I can play it.
Oh, good. Oh, man. Oh, well, is this a preview of a future Retronauts?
You know what? If I spend 150 hours playing this game, I might as well make a podcast about it.
Hey, sign me up. I've eaten at a Persona 5 cafe, the themed curry there, the coffee curry. They were selling it. So,
you know, if Patreon allowed us to have images as reactions or images as replies, I could see a lot of people posting the image of Walter Wright screaming in the car with the window rolled up when I announced that I'm going to start Persona 5. I know it's a very long journey, but because Breath of the Wild and Nier Automata came out like the same month, I had to pick and choose. And unfortunately, I bought Persona 5 like 3 times, have not started it yet.
I wonder how many more hours they even add to Royal to it. I haven't looked into that. Like, I only played the original version, not Royal. I did see Mortal Kombat 2. It's all right. It's all right. It is fine. I mean, the violence was good. And if you care about the Mortal Kombat lore, they're very interested in it in the movie, too.
And I know, Henry, you saw a little guy named Baby Graggle.
I saw The Mandalorian Grogu last night. I actually hadn't even added it to the notes because it came together late. My husband, I was probably going to see it anyway, but opening night, my husband and his coworkers were going to go see it. So I was like, all right, let's
And they all had their guns drawn.
Yes, they had their
important part of that story. They were going to kill Henry if he didn't go.
You know, I liked the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. I did enjoy it. And then they really biffed it with that 3rd season. But I thought, this is the first Star Wars movie in 7 years. It's got to exist for a reason, but it really is like 4 episodes of the TV show and not particularly eventful ones.
Well, I question your sad devotion to that ancient religion, Henry. That's my Star Wars reference. I looked it up before this podcast.
I would say impressive, most impressive, not. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say. You know what, Bob? They actually do shoot something no bigger than a Womp Rat with an X-Wing. So it's and if you get those references, this is something too. That movie, here's a big problem with that movie. The inmates are running the asylum by giving David Filoni so much power over it. It is full, the Glup Shittos in it are the Glup Shittos from Clone Wars, the cartoon show that he wrote. And it's too many.
Can we move on, please, from this? I've heard many reports that Sigourney Weaver actively is like trying to jeopardize the entire production. She's very checked out, is what I heard.
And I hate to say this about one of our dames of cinema, who I love and everything, and I feel like I've seen her try very hard in things that I don't think are worth her time. She is collecting a paycheck in this movie. It feels like, yes. Yeah.
No, it's funny. Like, I just watched Alien Resurrection for the first time, which came out 30 years ago. And that was her saying goodbye to all this sci-fi shit. I'm not an action hero anymore. And now 30 years later, I could see why she would be not very enthusiastic about having to be in a Star Wars.
And again, it's like if you go into it thinking, well, if they're making a Mandalorian and Grogu movie, big stuff has to happen, or they might answer big secrets that were teased in the show, or all of these things. No, not even a little bit. It's just 4 episodes of the TV show with maybe a little bigger budget. And like there is good action in it, and the puppet pals are fun and all that, but like it should not be the first Star Wars movie in 7 years. That's for sure.
Word to the wise, this will be on Disney Plus in 100 days.
Which is where it should be. Watching a Star Wars movie in theater should not make me think I could be watching it at home. That is the last thing a Star Wars movie should make me think. And I cannot believe there's too many Galupshitos from Clone Wars. Even I was like, okay, I think that's a guy from Clone Wars. I know Steve Blum voices him, and I have attachment to the voice of Steve Blum, even though I don't know who this guy is. You're probably better off saving you some time and money on your Grogu film. Then, yes, I went to Los Angeles. I went to Universal Fan Fest, which was a lot of fun, which had multicolored Yoshis. I got a picture with yellow Yoshi.
Wow. So the P Yoshi, I see.
What was his in Super Mario World? Here, I'm failing as a Mario fanboy. What did the yellow ones do? They had like a specialization that purple could
I think
fly.
they did everything. I think the yellow Yoshis could do everything: spitfire, fly, and do the ground stomp.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not the P Yoshi. Now, here's the thing. I was going to play the Hollywood Henry Gilbert theme, which I established last year. But unfortunately, Henry, you have lost the title. You don't go to Hollywood enough anymore. So you are no longer Hollywood Henry Gilbert. You're just Henry Gilbert, tourist.
It was my first trip to LA in about 9 months or almost a year, I think. Yes. I'd fallen on being there a lot. It was fun. I did the Scooby-Doo solving a mystery thing with the Scooby Pals in the area where they filmed all the classic Universal horror films. So like, the Bride of Frankenstein's walking around and the Wolfman, along with an improv actor pretending to be Scooby and Shaggy. And I also got to watch a 3D, well, actually, it wasn't in 3D, but it was a Sailor Moon film. I got to watch a Sailor Moon film that usually was exclusive to Japan, but they did it here in the U.S.
So this was a live-action film, but with Japanese actors?
It was a CGI one, all in Japanese, though, not dubbed. And they also did protracted 20-minute version of a One Piece stage show, which was really funny to see that. It was in the Water World Stunt Spectacular area, and it was a mix of, it was full house every time. I saw it twice, and it was a mix of people who knew every hardcore reference in there. Like Kizaru, the admiral, shows up, and people are like, "Oh my God, Kizaru's here!" And meanwhile, half the, at least 40% of the audience was going, "Who? Huh? What?"
I want to know, you went to this, but you only posted 4 pictures. So I need to know what you ate, and also how many hoodies and what's on them. The question we all want to know, how many hoodies?
All right, hoodie count. I think, I didn't buy any hoodies, but I did because the official FanFest hoodie did feature the Harry Potter thing on it, which again, it's like, hey, look, how much am I really, if I don't go into the Harry Potter world, but I'm at a fan fest that Harry Potter is part of, am I really boycotting it? I get it, but I don't want to walk around with a Harry Potter thing on my shirt. That's
I understand.
what it's about.
So 0 hoodies.
But I did buy a Spirit jersey of Sailor Moon that said Universal Studios Sailor Moon on it. And
what is a Spirit jersey? I've never heard this.
Oh, it's in the theme park world, first set up by Disney, of like an expensive sweater type thing that has very specific tailoring to it. It's like a double layer sweater that also has like puffy paint on the back of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at images of this now. I've seen these before. I didn't know that they were called Spirit jerseys.
And so I got the Sailor Moon one, which was fun. They call it, Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon. It's very directly translated. I noticed that too with the One Piece one. Who's ever doing the localization are not like the anime localizers. There's not much. They were very straightforward, and maybe the handlers of the property said don't embellish much or don't do too much localization. I did get a Scooby-Doo t-shirt of Scooby-Doo being terrorized by the Universal monsters. So those were the shirts, yeah.
And food. I know, like, the big thing is you eat the different themed foods there, too, for FanFest. Now, what's going on there?
Man, okay, I need to, listeners, watch for my Instagram. I'll post the food. We did get food pics. I forgot to post the food pics, but we ate at the One Piece thing, which was highly popular. We got it early in. We ate they had basically 2, how they have corn cobs, but this was like little bones at the end on basically a pork meatball to look like the meat that Luffy would be eating, like a big chomp in the meat thing. So
giant, stretchy anime meat, yeah.
We had that with some fried rice, which was pretty good. We had my favorite sweet I had there was a churro that was the Lunar Scepter churro. So it had strawberry filling in it, and it looked like the Lunar Scepter that Sailor Moon uses. So that was pretty good. Some people, the Scooby snacks were okay, but they were just like a cookie. And nobody in our
I've seen
group,
those like at Target and other stores, the ones in your picture.
Yeah, they might not have even been exclusive to there, but they did have, nobody bought the viral foods in our big group. Nobody wanted to buy the 24-inch giant chili dog or the Shaggy sandwich, which was like a 10-layer stacked up sandwich.
You went with a very large group. Now, I think that you all should have attacked the sandwich like a bunch of Pikmin.
That would have left us so messy for the rest of the day. I heard it was just a giant mess, that sandwich. That's what I had heard about it. Like, the reality of making a Dagwood type sandwich in real life is not as clean and fun as the ones you see in cartoons.
No, you need a cartoon jaw. So are you doing this next year? Would you do it again for a third year in a row?
Well, it was really fun to go with my group of pals to it. My gaggle of gay pals who love.
Henry, as far as I know, these are all ghosts because whenever I see these pictures of these vacations, it's Henry alone.
I posted
and everyone is just off screen. These 20 other people.
I posted a couple with my husband, but
I have only seen your husband. These men do not exist.
I promise they're real. Nobody wanted to stay still for a photo.
Tells me this: either they're ghosts or they're all criminals. Now, which is it?
They are on the run and
gay crimes.
They're doing gay crime. Hey, in Trump's America, man. No, it really just was. Nobody would stay still for a whole group picture. It just was that.
Things I know about gay guys, they hate taking pictures.
Well, they took their own pictures and stuff.
Classic stereotype. I don't buy any of this. They're ghosts or criminals. We need to figure it out. Listeners, you're on the case. I'm tasking everyone out there.
One guy in our group actually works at the Disney World in Orlando and had fun stories to tell me about working on. Like, he got to meet the real Fozzie Bear when they were closing the Muppet Vision 3D, which was pretty cool. He showed me a picture of him and Fozzie. It was really cool.
Now, I'm also wondering, is this expensive or do you need to be a millionaire podcast like Henry Gilbert or Bob Mackey? Can normal people do this too?
It's only like $75 to get in.
Okay. That's cheaper than Disneyland, you know?
Yeah. It's basically from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. to do it. And obviously the food isn't theme park priced, but going with that. But no, I mean, it's not so bad. If you live near there, it's an easy enough flight to do too for me. Not as easy as it used to be, but it's fun to do it with a group. We did, that's how I sped through the Scooby-Doo thing, was with the group too. And I wouldn't do it again on the last day of it. I think that did make it a little more hectic. Like, it was the final night of it, so I think it was busier than it normally was. But I guess too, if I do it next year, it does depend on it having good new experiences in it, because they also had Dungeons and Dragons, but it was the same one as last year, so I don't want them to repeat stuff from that. But and then I also saw a couple fun comedy shows. I saw Kristen Schaal do a comedy show called The Legend of Crystal Shell, which was her doing like a parody of a one-woman show. And then I saw a Harley Quinn live table read with some of the cast and a lot of famos there. I got to see Will Forte and Bobby Moynihan and Justice Smith, who Detective Pikachu's friend, Justice Smith.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. So this is a table read of an existing episode or like a new upcoming episode?
It was them doing their Valentine's Day special from a few years ago. It was great to see James Adomian live do his Bane imitation. It was all fundraising for Nithya Raman running for mayor, who, to my knowledge, is the best pick of the three. So I guess you'll get my endorsement. She's friends with the Harley Quinn writers. So that's plus in my book for her.
And hey, we both love ramen.
And lastly, I went to the Academy Museum, which that also, it was my second time doing that in a year, but they refreshed so many of the things. It was almost a brand new experience. I can't say enough. If you love movies, go to the Academy Museum. It's like the 50th anniversary of Jaws thing was brand new. They had a Bong Joon-ho celebration of his films with some original storyboards donated and some props from the host and Okja. It was really cool. But,
well, Henry, if you go back to LA this summer, I will reinstitute the theme song, but unfortunately too much time has passed.
Well, see if I earn back that theme song this year. We'll see.
You've lost the title officially. Yeah, we'll see.
That's the long version of all the stuff I did this month.
Okay, moving on to Talking Simpsons questions and comments. Up first, we have Homer Badman. And Patrick McClafferty says, think this episode in the episode of Dinosaurs titled What Sexual Harassment taught me what sexual harassment was as a kid. Looking it up, it's funny you brought up Duckman because Sexual Harris was also voiced by Jason Alexander. Must be a pattern. And yes, Patrick, thank you for this comment. I think Jason Alexander just has a naturally body voice you want to lend to a sleazy character like George Costanza or Duckman, or let's say Sexual Harris.
He was the voice of inappropriate sexual advances then. I think around the same time, too, he was in Pretty Woman in 1990 and was like a bad man to Julia Roberts' character in that, too. He was getting typecast as unwanted sexual advances man.
And I think now he is, like us, a podcaster. I've been seeing a lot of clips of his podcast on Instagram lately. I'm not sure if it's good, but he's doing it.
Seems like he's also one of those podcasters who's like, my child asked me to do this kind of thing.
Or like a company set me up with a podcast, and I know famous people, which is fair. I mean, I love Jason Alexander. I want to hear more from him.
I've noticed a similar vibe to, and again, I love these guys, the Brent Spiner and Jonathan Frakes podcast that's happening now. It definitely seems like they have so much of a budget behind their studio that it feels like a VC funded dude came to them and said, you guys should have a podcast here. I'll get you started. The money will start rolling in.
Well, if the podcast isn't called For Goodness Frakes, I want them to change the title. That's my proposed title.
It's called Dropping Names and Other Things is what it's called.
Don't care for that. I'm sorry, guys.
And Andrew Bouvier said about Homer Badman, regarding Henry's brief comment about HIPAA, Dr. Hibbert would have been in the clear. HIPAA wasn't signed into law until August of 1996 by Slick Willie himself. While there was a smattering of state laws, ethic boards, expectations, and professional organization standards, there was no fully comprehensive federal law protecting your medical privacy. Hibbert was free to sell Homer's medical data to the highest bidder and, perhaps at worst, get a slap on the wrist from the physician licensing board of the state Springfield is in.
I see. Okay, so it was Slick Willie himself that gave us HIPAA.
See, HIPAA is another one of those things that it's like you think because it started when you were a kid that I just assumed it was always around, and actually it is something that is new. New things can happen and then become like, oh, I guess this is forever stuff. Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
And then they can take things away, unfortunately.
Yep, they can undo things. As long as it's 6-3 in a certain court somewhere, a lot of things can happen.
Moving on to Prankster Rap, and we have Andrew, the champion of Flavortown Pittman, who says, Eminem also had a cameo in the rightfully forgotten Judd Apatow movie. Funny people. He yells at Ray Romano. I didn't know that, so thank you. I'm sure Ray Romano's like, oh, come on, Eminem.
Eminem is underrated in the list of guys who's like, I want to be in comedies. He is like John Hamm, as it turns out, as far as like wanting to be in comedy movies, because it's funny to see Eminem, whether he is a good comedic performer or not. The bit that happened in the promotion of Bruno, the MTV award, some MTV award show, Bruno falls like with his ass hanging out of a costume, accidentally falls on Eminem, and Eminem is like, hey man, what's this? And Scott Aukerman, who wrote on it, revealed, no, yeah, that was all an act. Like Eminem was in on it. And that pissed off Sacha Baron Cohen that his whole ruse got revealed by Scott Aukerman. It made Bruno angry. And Steve R says on Prankster Rap, on the Weezer tangent, though I would never argue that Blue Album and Pinkerton aren't their best work by a good margin, and fair to say they have been hit and miss ever since, recent-ish highlights for me are the albums Everything Will Be Alright in the End, White Album, and 2022's Seasons Projects, a set of 4 EPs released that year. Obviously, no one is obligated to track the discography of every band they've ever been into, but if anyone were interested, those are a few I'd recommend.
Okay. Well, thanks, Steve R. The last time I checked in with Weezer was like 2009. So I honestly have missed a lot of music. And there's a few songs from that Red album, I think it was called, that I enjoyed. Some of the songs were in Rock Band too, I think. But yeah, maybe I need to dip back into Weezer and see what they think about the world in their late 50s.
I must have heard some of these songs when I went to the Weezer concerts in the last 5 years that I went to in Oakland, but I don't recall them. I did actually just dig back into their pre-Green album B-sides, because on the podcast The Ride, it came up, the Meet the Deedles came up for some reason, and then I mentioned that, like, oh yeah, I remember hearing of a deep cut of Weezer on the Meet the Deedles soundtrack, which is all I know about Meet the Deedles. And though I said the wrong song, the song actually is American Girls, and it's not even really by Weezer, it's by Homie. Do you remember Homie? Yes.
Was Homie Rivers Cuomo's side project?
I think so. I think it's how
Yeah.
it was just him or him with like studio musicians, but he called it
Yeah.
Homie. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember. So we talked about, I mentioned how that the last time I checked in with Weezer was 2009. And I remember being really drunk in a bar. And it was the night that Barack Obama won in 2008. And someone put on I Am the Greatest Man That Ever Lived. And I thought, man, what a moment to be alive.
'09 must also been at the time, or around then, they would have had the Muppet music video as well, right?
That was like early aughts. I think it was called like Keep Dreamin' or Keep Fishin' or something like
Keep
that. I don't
Fishin',
know.
I think that's right. Yeah. It was
it was on Maladroit.
them and OK Go both had Muppet music videos. It was the Muppets they got to have their movie, I think, partially thanks to early YouTube successes like those music videos.
Mm-hmm. And up next, we have Grandpa versus Sexual Inadequacy. And Solario says, guys, the Madonna Inn is awesome. You're totally missing out. Everything looks old but feels new and is very clean. And in lieu of urinals in the men's public restroom, there's a giant waterfall. You haven't lived until you've peed at the Madonna Inn. And thank you, Solario. My wife is very excited for me to pee at the Madonna Inn, so maybe it might happen. We'll get in there, rent a room, pee, and then check out.
It sounds like, well, that public restroom, you don't even have to, that's open to anybody. You just hang out in the lobby and you can pee there already.
That's true. I can just pretend I'm interested and be like, oh, you know what? I have to take a huge dump. I'll be a second. Be right back.
Then Theo Flood says on that same episode, Celebration Song Story, which, Henry, pause here. I goofed up and said the wrong band for that, by the way. I believe I said it was Casey and the Sunshine Band, and it is not. It's Cool in the
Nope, it was not a band that wrote the song. It was a gang.
Yes, it was Cool in the Gang. I goofed on that, so thank you, correctors on there. Theo Flood says, Celebration Song Story. In 2020, when we were all waiting for the election results, I was sitting on the floor in my living room refreshing the page frequently. I had kind of given up because I had to get ready for work, and then I heard screaming from outside, and Biden had won, or more accurately, Trump had lost. When I was crossing the street to the train station, a USPS truck pulled up at the stoplight and was blasting this song, Celebration. I'm sure you remember how important the Postal Service was in this election, and as we waited at the light, everyone cheered for him, and a couple ladies flashed him. I can't wait to see that kind of wanton dancing in the street again on some sweet day that hopefully isn't too far away.
It's funny. I remember where I was on the 2016 election in 2024, but honestly, 2020 was such a depressing gray blur. I don't even know if I stayed up for the election results. It was such a bad time.
I remember the 2020 election night that Chapo had a stream. I remember watching some of that. And then I remember going to bed and it wasn't decided. And my husband was intentionally not watching any results. He's like, you can watch results if you want. I'm going to be in here. And when I came into the bedroom, he asked me like, well, how's it looking? And I'm like, it's too soon to tell. I can't say. And so it was hard. It was tough going to bed that night. But I do remember, yes, I remember the day it got announced of like, on that same day, I think we did record was it Krusty Gets Busted with Casey Green? I think it was either that or Ian Jones-Cordy's Treehouse of Horror 2. It was one of those. We recorded that week, I think.
We recorded on Election Day. I think we recorded like the Beetlejuice cartoon. Maybe no, sorry, that came out on Election Day. The Beetlejuice, what a cartoon.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But the 2021, I remember, yes, walking around, hearing the excitement, the clanging of things. That nobody was playing Celebration, though it is entirely warranted, as it will be on the day that Theo Flood is referencing here, that I think we all know what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. 2024. I do remember, like, we didn't want to sit around at home to watch the results, so my wife and I went out for drinks at the Tiki Bar, and then, like, after the first round, I looked at results and I thought, oh, let's just stay here and drink more.
Yes, yeah. I didn't need to look. I kept checking in, but I was like, well, this is just, that was when, again, my husband was like, before I go to sleep, tell me what's going on. I was like, unless some very crazy things happen with votes coming in the next 2 hours, it's not looking good.
Oh, and sorry, I just remembered in 2016, I was reviewing Dishonored 2 for the horrible website we both worked at, and I was like completely sick with the flu like my first week of work,
Yes.
and I had to miss the entire week, but I was still playing the game at home on my own time. And I associate Dishonored 2, an amazing game, unfortunately, with the first time Trump was elected. I really need to go back to that game and make the memories of it better. and not attached to that time period at all.
I remember being at that website and working with, it felt so strange that I was working with an Australian woman there, and she asked me to explain American elections to her, like how it works, this whole state by state thing. I explained the Electoral College to her, and it felt like I was in a movie because the Electoral College became very important that night. And it was like I felt I had set it up for the audience by explaining it to her, the audience surrogate, before it came up.
And our What a Cartoon movie for the month of April was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. And Seth says, I got to see The Secret of the Ooze in the theater for the 35th anniversary. At the end of the movie, I overheard a family in the row behind me ask their kid if he knew who the guy singing at the end of the movie was. He had no idea who Vanilla Ice is. I got a good chuckle out of that. Also, there was a good amount of giggles in the theater when Splinter said he was coming. Well, that's great to hear, Seth, because that was my biggest laugh of the movie. But hey, the kids, they don't know about Vanilla Ice like they should. The schools aren't teaching them.
I'm glad to hear that he had a more engaged audience for his 35th anniversary screening than I had. A pretty quiet audience for mine with it. Only I chuckled at Splinter saying he was coming to a decision.
Yes. They knew what they were doing or they didn't, and we all had a good laugh at it.
And Dennis K said about the ooze, I too had all the movie action figures with their rubbery plastic as a child, and I played with them so much I broke most of them. I was very frustrated when Playmates did a re-release a few years ago with the same or at least similar molds, but with the standard plastic, just not the same. And it was the movie stars line of characters that had their plastic. It was like they felt almost moist. It was so weird the way their skin felt.
Yeah, I'm trying to look these up, and all I'm getting are the NECA ones, which will look really good, to be fair, but I don't know what the original ones look like, but they sound like garbagey to me.
Maybe refine your search to Playmates Movie Stars Turtles, like 1992.
I'm seeing these now. Yeah, they're weird looking.
I don't know what they did different with the plastic, but yeah, they don't have as much articulation, but their limbs are all like rubbery, so they can kind of like stretch in different directions. I guess look like they are a Henson creation puppet, I think.
I think a lot of that plastic is probably in your bloodstream right now.
It's part of the general, like, credit card size microplastics in my brain at this very moment.
We're full of them. Moving on, we have Jellystone. That was our What a Cartoon for the month of April. Wait, May? Where am I? Where are we? May?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No, April was, what was April? I did April's episode. Help.
Married with Children.
Thank you. We do a lot here at Talking Simpsons. Also, I just turned 44. So yes, we covered SpaceCon with Toby Jones, and Dylan says, as always, it is a goddamn delight to hear Toby on the podcast. I will never tire of hearing him talk about cartoons and anything else too. Like Bob, as a Canadian, I also had to add the Teletoon Plus subscription to my Amazon Prime to be able to watch this, as it's entirely unavailable anywhere else in Canada. This is also the case with most other Cartoon Network/Adult Swim shows, which is such a pain in the ass for how good a lot of those shows are, and that a lot of the newer shows of the last decade do not have full DVD or Blu-ray releases, if they have any at all. So yes, thank you, Dylan, for revealing the plight of Canadians and their Teletoons.
Though I think you have available to you more right now Toby's new series that he worked on than I do at the moment. Regular show The Lost Tapes won't be on HBO Max until the early June, while meanwhile I think it's available in most of the international things that hold Cartoon Network cartoons right now.
Yeah, it might be on Crave. That's kind of our HBO Maxi zone realm with WB stuff, I'm pretty sure.
I only watched the first episode because that is freely available on YouTube. The Lost Tapes is good. It's good, like old classic regular show was, and it got an actual like 40 episode order instead of the usual 10 episodes and then wait 2 years order that streaming shows get. And Toby and his pals worked very hard on it. I can now give it an official thumbs up. I even grabbed lunch with him and Maddie Carapel, who we also had on podcasts in the past too, his partner.
In case anyone wants to know, I was not there.
I'm sorry, Bob. I'll zoom you in on these next time.
I want to be present for all of these lunches.
It was cool, though. Honestly, it was one of those lunches where like, man, I wish this was a podcast. I think too much about hanging out with people should be podcasts, I think. Then Tiny Crow says, I am the Gen Z that adores Chowder. I also agree that you should totally cover it someday. The memory of its premiere is still fresh to me. Cartoon Network did seem to actually care when it and Flapjack's first handful of episodes aired. I remember pulling up the I'm Not Your Boyfriend song on Chowder's website and having a laugh with my sister. Even with that fandom, I didn't see the final third season until college when I decided to revisit the show. While many shows I grew up with don't hold up to adult expectations, I'm a brave enough woman to admit I was a childhood fan of Johnny Test. Chowder still shines as brightly and consistently as the day it aired.
Yeah, Chowder's great.
Boy, I don't know what Johnny Test.
Oh, you've never heard of Johnny Test?
Which one is Johnny Test?
He's like a Dexter / Jimmy Neutron ripoff with like a UPA art style and like kind of like big spiky guile hair.
Oh,
and
right.
He's got a talking dog.
The blonde-haired child. Okay. I can see that now. And he's got like twin sisters or something, right?
There's something going on there.
Yeah.
But with my Teletoon Plus subscription, I kind of jumped around when I first got it. I watched an episode of Chowder, loved it. Flapjack, loved it. Like this era, we really should cover. And also, I threw on Billy and Mandy, a show I watch occasionally, and I did like it, but I always thought like, oh, this is kind of like a tamer Ren and Stimpy. Now it seems like it's an edgy show made for adults that they could never make today. That's just how things have shifted. So I've gained a newfound appreciation for the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. So I feel like we really need to touch upon all of these shows that came out when we were jaded 20-somethings.
You know, since I did the history of the career of C.H. Greenblatt, the creator of Chowder, he has revealed that he was commissioned to pitch a Chowder prequel series to Cartoon Network, and he has revealed it since because they passed on it. On it. So he's like, well, they passed, so here's the art. Here's what you could have gotten. So Chowder still being disrespected by Cartoon Network.
It ain't fair, I tells ya. Moving on to Talking Futurama, the episode was Cold Warriors, and Adam Damasi says, this episode is somewhat retooled from a Futurama comic, issue 11 from 2003, quote, the cure for the common clod, unquote. Fry gets the cold and the team are surprised because it was eradicated forever ago. It takes suggestive turn from there. Let's put it that way. It makes Leela strip nude for a bunch of the story. Preteen me didn't quite pick up on it, but looking at it 23 years later, crazy that ended up in a comic sold in newsagents nationwide. Yes, Adam, I feel like Bongo and the production team were often like not ever talking to each other, but I have to assume that this is either lateral thinking or when Futurama went off the air, Matt Groening said, well, here are some ideas we couldn't do on the show, and Bongo rolled with them. So it could be either case. I could definitely see it being the latter. Like, we need a space for these stories. The comics are now the space for the stories until the inevitable comeback that they didn't think was going to happen in 2003.
Your pitch on that, I think I like the idea of the latter more because we got to explore it very briefly, the Santa Monica base of Futurama production that is where Bongo used to be. And I think the wall between, guess we could even ask Ian Boothby someday, but it seemed like the wall between Futurama writers on the comics and Futurama writers on the TV show was a much thinner wall than there was between Simpsons writers and the Simpsons comics, I think.
Yeah, I believe some Futurama writers actually wrote for the comics. That was not really ever true for the Simpsons comics as far as I know.
Because Matt Groening was, very involved in the Simpsons comics, but it seemed like he got less involved in creative on Simpsons, while meanwhile he was still pretty day-to-day on Futurama, plus them being all in the same building. So yeah, I could see if, with that comic being published in 2003, when production would have stopped for a time on Futurama, the TV show, that they could have said, well, we did have an idea of like the common cold comes back and what do we do? And of course, if they're trying to sell Futurama comics, having Leela stripped down in the comic, that'll certainly sell. Probably sold them more copies.
And that comic series ran for 18 years. There's a lot of Futurama comics out there. I don't know how they're available today, but they made a lot of them.
Tyler M. says, please excuse the copy-paste of a prior comment about Buzz Aldrin since he's showing up here again. A really good friend of mine has a personal vendetta against Buzz Aldrin. She was a teenager. Her father passed away from ALS. When he was in the throes of the disease, her family went out to a restaurant, the type that was a suit and tie place. My friend's father could no longer wear a tie due to his affliction, but apparently Buzz started absolutely losing his shit in this restaurant that someone had the audacity to not wear a tie. My friend's father then said, if I weren't a dying man, I'd kick your ass. So needless to say, when Buzz goes on his last rocket trip, her family will absolutely celebrate.
Yeah, I don't think I talked about this on that episode. I mean, I like to resist the impulse to say the worst thing you know about someone just because it's funny. But when I was reading about Buzz Aldrin, I did hear that there are so many stories of him being drunk and belligerent in many spaces. And the fact that he punched out a moon landing denier was probably just because he was drunk at the time.
Yeah, his drunken
Allegedly.
his drunken swings landed on a good person to punch instead of a bad person.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know that these are the stories I've read when I looked up Buzz Aldrin. Like a lot of personal accounts of him being drunk and ruining people's days.
Yeah, I thought this one would be at least a somewhat fun one to pull up because, or at least it is like the episode Cold Warriors because it's a childhood story of Buzz Aldrin killing the guinea pig that Fry has in the episode. So he also has a grudge against Buzz Aldrin from childhood, like Tyler M's friend here. So it's interesting to hear a similar story there.
And we have up next, Talking of the Hill, Bill of Sales, a great episode. And Marshall Case says, Bob brought back some rough GameStop memories, having to sell the magazine pre-orders, disc protection, etc. Our hours at the store were based on how much of this crap we sold. And yes, thank you, Marshall. I did not like being part of the retail world and the very, very high stakes, despite the fact that you were making $5.15 an hour. It was crazy to me. It's just like, I'm not on Wall Street. We are selling used games and subscriptions. And I just thought like the weird draconian rules were very funny because I'm sure this is the same for every store, but the store's not making very much. You cut people's hours. The store is making too much money. People need to work more shifts. It's like, it was crazy to me. It's like, well, can't we just remain profitable? It's like, no, if the store makes X amount of money, we need to have X amount of people scheduled or else everyone's in trouble.
It's, I guess what they're told, like, this place makes X amount of money, so you need to spend that much, or it needs to balance out with the hours paid to people in the month, I guess, right?
Yeah, and like, even if you were doing very well, everyone was in trouble if people didn't work enough. I understand cutting hours. If your store didn't make a lot of money, that makes sense. That's happened plenty of times, but that you would get in trouble for not scheduling enough people is nutty to me.
Yeah, when I worked at a mom and pop video store, they didn't have like a program telling them. They just were like, oh, the Thursdays have been a lot slower. We only need one person here on those, or only two people here working that night kind of thing. But to hear that they assigned specifically how many hours a person gets based on how much they were able to upsell like a Game Informer subscription. Like you said, your pay was so low that if you sold one Game Informer subscription in an hour, that probably covered your pay for the day, I would think.
Yeah, and my very nice motivational manager said, your commission is you get to keep your job, which made everybody happy and want to sell more things. It's like, wow, I got this job with no experience. I could just do this somewhere else.
Yes, yeah. The replaceability of it on both sides works here. But though now if you worked at a GameStop that do still exist, you're mainly a toy retailer, I would assume, these days.
Yeah, and those stores, they still smell the same as they've always smelled, bad. I was in one recently, but yeah, it is mostly toys.
I was like searching for physical like copies of games that were there. I felt like Nintendo Switch titles were the most likely to see, like that had floor space of games, but otherwise it was really just getting shoved out for either t-shirts you would see at Hot Topic or Funko adjacent action figures. Finally, on our last comment, also from Bill of Sales, we've got Gonzalo saying, so my mom's been a participant of several MLM, multi-level marketing schemes. Avon, Herbalife, and the newest being Princess House. They don't tend to last too long, but as my mom doesn't have much of an education, it's up to me to keep track of her sales for free. I try to tell her they're scams, but she's the kind of hard-headed and impulsive, so we'll see how long her latest job lasts.
All I have to say is Princess House.
Princess.
Yeah, and it looks like I'm at Princess House now, and it looks like upscale Tupperware to me.
Oh, okay. I wondered what Princess House, my first thought was just a similar Avon thing, so makeup, but Tupperware, eh? Huh.
It's not quite Tupperware, but it's upscale looking kitchen implements like pots and pans and storage containers, things like that.
It sounds like Gonzalo is having to be like Hank Hill was in the episode 2 of managing his mother's business of Herbalife. I wonder how familiar all of the, protein bars and such that Bill is selling in this were to the Herbalife that Gonzalo and his mother were involved in too in their time.
You know what? I brought up Tupperware. I guess we forgot to mention that Tupperware was an MLM. I mean, it is a brand you can buy in the store, but remember the idea of the Tupperware party, Henry? You could see that joke in so many 80s and 90s sitcoms. Even The Simpsons had one.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, my mom had to explain those to me, the Tupperware parties. I don't think she ever went to one of those. It does feel like if your friend does it, I would think they become like your enemy then. I'm like, oh, this is like you sent me to a high pressure marketing thing and called it a party.
It's like a sales presentation at someone's house.
Though if they did imitate Selma placing her entire head inside one of them, then you know what? I would be impressed by that and I would buy at least a couple.
But I would say, please don't scare Jub Jub. He did nothing wrong. But yes, that was another talk to the audience. And again, it is a slow news month, but I can't wait for news to trickle in about season, what are we on now? 38? Help me out here.
I think it is 38. Yeah,
okay.
I think 38 is the next, and 39 is one coming up in 2027. And then 40 is the most they are renewed towards at this time.
Okay, yeah. So that season, the new Disney Plus episode, information about the movie, and who knows what else will be in store for The Simpsons in the future. But right now, we're kind of in a holding pattern. A lot of things are in the works, but we're just waiting to hear anything about them.
Speaking of holding pattern, like I walked around Universal's Springfield again, and that definitely felt like it's in a holding pattern. Nothing special going on there. They are barely holding together the Simpsons ride. It was being run with almost no of the even opening videos. They were just like, okay, you walked in here, just go. You're not watching the explainer video. Just get into the machine.
Was like a construction worker sitting nearby in an idling bulldozer, just waiting for people to leave.
I was wondering sometimes of like, okay, is this faux dilapidated or is this just dilapidated now in Springfield?
But yeah, ultimately, we're just waiting for news. But until then, we have a great summer coming up. Remember, it is our 2010s Disney summer, so check that out on the What a Cartoon movie tier at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. And again, our miniseries episodes for patrons at the $5 level, and our regular stuff, Talking Simpsons and What a Cartoon this month, a special episode of Blab About Batman, the animated series about Bane.
And I know everybody's been waiting for Wreck-It Ralph for a long time. I think that's been on a lot of people's expectations. It's a Simpsons adjacent production, like both Jim Reardon and Rich Moore worked on that film. I am thinking it holds up good. Guess we will see on that film that's nearly 15 years old now, I think.
Yes, it's kind of scary. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening. And we'll see you again next week for a new Talking Simpsons and next month for another episode of Talk to the Audience. And we'll see you then.